What was the Encomienda system in colonial Latin America? Imagine a time when powerful nations were exploring new worlds and establishing control over vast lands. One of the key tools they used was the Encomienda system. This system was set up by Spain during the colonial era to organize how they managed indigenous populations and resources. It played a big role in shaping society and the economy in Latin America. The core idea was that a Spanish settler, called an encomendero, was given the right to demand work and tribute from a group of indigenous people. These indigenous groups were assigned to the encomendero by the crown. The encomendero was supposed to protect these people, teach them Spanish, and convert them to Christianity. In return, the indigenous people had to give the encomendero labor, crops, gold, textiles, or other goods. The word encomienda comes from the Spanish verb encomendar, meaning to entrust, showing that the crown was giving the encomendero a responsibility to care for the indigenous population. This system was inspired by medieval Spain, where landowners had similar arrangements with peasants. But in the Americas, it was different because the land itself did not belong to the encomendero. All land remained owned by the Spanish crown. The focus was on controlling the labor force and extracting resources, not land ownership. The system was approved in 1503 and quickly spread from the Caribbean to Mexico, Central America, and South America as Spain expanded its empire. In practice, the encomienda often led to harsh treatment of indigenous people. While the crown intended it to be a fair exchange, many encomenderos ignored their duties. Instead of protecting or educating the indigenous populations, they focused on making as much money as possible. This often meant overworking the indigenous people, forcing them to work long hours under brutal conditions. Many indigenous communities suffered greatly, with their populations declining due to overwork, disease, and mistreatment. The encomienda became a key part of the social hierarchy in the colonies. It reinforced racial and social divisions, giving Spanish settlers privileges while pushing indigenous communities to the margins. It also helped spread Christianity and Hispanic culture, although often these efforts were superficial or neglected. The Spanish government tried to reform the system with laws like the New Laws of 1542, which aimed to limit the power of encomenderos and protect indigenous rights. But these reforms faced resistance from settlers, and the system persisted in some areas for hundreds of years. Over time, the encomienda was replaced by other forms of labor, like the hacienda system. Still, some parts of the encomienda lasted into the 18th and even the 19th centuries. From the Latin American perspective, the encomienda system is seen as both a foundation of colonial society and a source of suffering for indigenous peoples. It helped establish Spanish dominance and spread culture, but it also created lasting social inequalities. Its legacy is still felt today in the blending of European and indigenous traditions across Latin America. In short, the encomienda system was a way for Spain to control indigenous labor and resources during the colonial era. It shaped the social and economic landscape of Latin America and left a complex legacy of cultural influence and social struggle.